exhibitor numbers. You can leave those in your camper, trailer, car, truck, show pin, whatever you want to do. No need to wear your exhibitor numbers. This time, please be going ahead and bringing your Class 2 Berkshire Gilts. Class 2 Berkshire Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring at this time. Class 2 Berkshire Gilts. Once again, as we get the show started this morning, it's great to have everybody out. Great to have a great set of exhibitors here in the Swine Barn once again this year. We'll move the show as quickly as we possibly can. We just don't want to get any animals worked up, but it's great to have you all out. And if you're not from Putnam County, welcome.
Well, good morning. It certainly is my pleasure to be here and have an opportunity to work through these today. I know when I signed up for this, I know the task at hand, that it's going to be very challenging to get through these. But boy, it sure is nice that the good Lord blessed us with just a perfect day to show these things and drive these hogs out here. And you know, we're still going to try to move through them as fast as we can. And these classes that we need to take a little time to make some decision, I certainly am going to do that. Great way to start off the drive with, and I think easy thing to do in this class is find this Berkshire Gilt, and she kind of falls to the top of the class. That's one that balances together and just has an unbelievable show look about her. And then when you get inside of that one's body cavity, that thing is busted open in terms of her chest floor. I really admire the boldness to the center part of her body cavity. When you study the hip structure in that gilt, I think she really excels the class. A really nice one to lead off the drive with. The young fella here in two, I mean, this thing here is extremely good, and the pieces of this thing I really admire. Another one that is just built extremely good in terms of heaviness of structure. I really like this one in terms of that center body cavity. She looks so natural into her center rib and just her overall width of skeleton. I really think that one's extremely good as compared to that one that leads off the drive. Maybe not as cool there in her ham-loin junction. Gets up there in that jump muscle just a little bit, but a really nice one there to be in too. Where this thing is good, I mean, this thing is absolutely good. And we're talking about one that runs uphill. We're talking about one that is extremely feminine and good looking. I mean, I love the levelness of design of this one. To me, she gets a little drier in the center part of that body cavity. I'd like to bolt her up when she comes and goes right away from me. One that's busted open, got all kinds of width and structure into her, like the center body of her. I just need to make that thing bigger scale. She just gets a little bit more moderate for what I would like to see, but I think a really nice gilt to have some unique pieces about her. Heavy structured one here. It's got all kinds of muscle shape into her. Looks like she's coming in heat there a little bit and just makes her maybe not eating and drinking as well as we need to. A little bit drier in the center part of her body cavity. Really like the muscle shape that we got in there. As we round out this class here with these three, I think we've got pieces here that you really like. Maybe just don't put that puzzle together quite as fancy and as unique as some of those directly above, but I think just a really good kind of a class of Berkshire Gilts all the way through. Congratulations to those exhibitors there in Class 1.
And the results of your Class 1 Berkshire Gilts: first place, Dalton Scott; second place, Colby Harcourt; third place, Morgan Goss; fourth place, Katie Barger; fifth place, Oliver Lilly; and rounding out the class is Caden Cash, Andrea Neese, and Logan Custis. Congratulations to all exhibitors. This time, please be making your way to the show ring with your Class 3 Chester White Gilts. Class 3 Chester White Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring. Class 3 Chester White Gilts.
Another real nice class here in this Berkshire Drive, and really I think a logical place to grab a hold of, and not just because this has that show hog look about her. I mean, this is one that's tall at the point of her shoulder. She's extended up through her front end, but then when you start studying this one from her blade back and within this drive, she is the most ideal for what I'm looking for in terms of shape. Really bold out of that center body cavity, really good in terms of that hip structure, heavy structure. That's a really nice one there to lead off the class with. From there, I think there's some decisions to make within the drive. To me, I think the Gilt in 2A just excels some of these other Gilts. Tallness at point of her shoulder, really level design Gilt that's got a really good running gear underneath this one. And when that one gets in motion, I think she just handles the surface so much better than some of the Gilts directly below. A really nice Gilt there in 2. Congratulations to that young man. The Gilt that comes out in 3 on the top side of this one, I think, is really, really good. Her struggles become, when we put this one in motion, she's not as athletic. Off of those rear 2, she gets a little too straight in through her shoulder for me and just doesn't want to drive, but a really good Gilt in terms of skeletal size and look. Just the opposite side of the pedigree here. Need to make this thing bigger, need to make her taller at the point of her shoulder, but you like the width of the skeleton, the muscle into her, just not big enough in her climb. Round out a class with a Gilt that just gets outpowered in terms of her overall width of skeleton, but this is one that if you just want to talk presentation and skin and hair and dialed in, the young lady's just done an outstanding job of getting that thing ready. Congratulations to those exhibitors there.
The results of your Class 2 Berkshire Gilts. First place, Jackson Parmley. Second, Garrett Hutchison. Third, Trip Trammell. Fourth place, Kate Cash. And fifth place, Adeline Cox. Congratulations.
I think there's two exceptionally high-quality Berkshire females in the ring right now, and you know, these two can compete at a lot of different levels and extremely high caliber of competition. I think both of these are just so unique in the pieces that they bring, a little bit different in terms of their maturity pattern, and I'm not one that we're going to go through the day and just always put them on a scale and weigh them, but I think we've got to get in and find the positives that are in these things and go from there. I think in this class, I think there's one that just offers a little bit more in terms of chest floor. I think there's one that's just a little bolder into her forearm coming out of her blade. I think just an exceptionally Gilt in terms of her center body cavity. I really like the way this thing runs uphill. When you get right behind her, I mean, this thing just handles it extremely, extremely good. Congratulations to this young man right here with their champion. Super job. You know, this Gilt here, maybe not just as fancy presentation as some of the others that we've seen today, but I really challenge you to get into this thing and study this one, because there's a whole lot of good in this thing. When you want to talk about feet and leg structure, when you want to talk about heaviness of structure and having the right kind of muscle shape into her, I think this thing does those things extremely good. The question is, do you think she's cool enough up through her front end in terms of her head and neck carriage? Are you okay with that? And I think those are some things that you got to look for within the pair of them. But for me, I think this other Gilt over here that is just one that, boy, that thing's front end is just impeccable, and the way she plants and drives and goes is extremely good. Her better days are yet to come, I think, but still a really good one. Congratulations right here. Super nice job.
And your champion Berkshire Gilt was exhibited by Dalton Scott. with your reserve champion Berkshire Gilt exhibited by Jackson Parmley. Congratulations, both those exhibitors. At this time, please be bringing your Class 4 Duroc Gilts. Class 4 Duroc Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring. Class 4 Duroc Gilts.
want to take a little bit of time here with just the one class of these Chesters and realizing that, somebody's going to be tagged into champion and get to make that next go and understand how important that is. A little bit of a challenge in this class out because there's about every size and kind through this thing, and as you kind of thick through them and kind of analyze some of the faults and the positives that they bring and kind of come to the puzzle. These are the two that I think I continue to come back with. There's two of them that I think handle the surface extremely good. I think they're built right at the ground, and I think that is extremely important as we go through the day, that we understand that they're hogs that when you put in motion, they really reach and they go. The champion I'm going to tag is one I would certainly like to fill this thing just a little bit more and bold this thing up in the center part of her just a skosh. But I think this one, when you talk about making them tall-shouldered, good-looking, and when you get on top of this one, I think this thing is just incredible. The way she comes out of her blade into her top line is just an incredible female. Congratulations, young man, right over here. You're going to have your champion. Super nice job there. Good job, buddy. Reserve champion is one. I think this thing is equally as good in terms of putting that thing in motion and goes. Maybe gets a little bit more compact there, and maybe just that shoulder set could be changed just a skosh. When you get right behind this one, when she leaves you, she's not as impressive as what that champion was there, but I think another exceptionally good one. Congratulations to her for driving your reserve champion there. Super, super nice job. An exceptionally high-quality one comes out here in third, and I think this one competes right there with them. I really like, again, the way this one hits the surface, plants, and drive. She's got a little bit of an abnormality there on her bottom side there. I certainly would like to clean that one up, but boy, in terms of her angles and the way that one goes and center body, I think that one is an exceptionally nice Gilt there to be in third. Gilt's got all kinds of muscle shape into her. We really appreciate the shape that this one's got. Unfortunately, her angles just don't match up. She's not as cool and trendy up to her front end. Shoulder needs to be laid back into that one just a little bit more. Really a practical one here, bold in the center part of her body. We really appreciate that about this one. She's one that hip structure's got to be changed on her. She gets a little bit more shorter and compacted. Her hip structure doesn't allow those hind two to get out and go. Really nice one comes out here next, just need more in terms of overall width and power. That thing is really big and tall and long. We just got to bust her open with more width. The skeleton, got a weak pasture Gilt here that's got all kinds of muscle into her, and with the skeleton's good. Round out the class with one that just needs a little bit more of a trendy kind of a look about her. Nice job to those Chester exhibitors. Really good drive.
This time, please be bringing your Class 5 Duroc Gilts. Class 5 Duroc Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring. Class 5 Duroc Gilts. On the results of your Class 3 Chester White Gilts, first place and champion goes to Jackson Fry. Second place and reserve champion goes to Brickley Oliver. Third place, Morgan Goss. Fourth place, Aaron Thomas. Fifth place, Brentley Clark. And rounding out the class, Kason Ames, Megan Cox, and Clay Haddon. Congratulations, exhibitors. Class 5, Duroc Gilts. Class 5, Duroc Gilts. Please be making your way to the show ring.
Really good up here on the top end in this Duroc show. And, you know, I think our class winning gilt there, that's one that puts this puzzle together extremely good. And I know there's a lot of people sitting ringside that say want to pick on that thing and say she's not heavy enough structured and she's not big enough bone. And I'd be the first to admit that I think we need to kind of increase the structure under that one. But boy, it really gets my trigger going when people just single trait hogs. And people that single trait hogs don't spend the time to put them together and don't understand how difficult it is to put one together that looks like that. One that is busted open in terms of her forearm, her shoulder is extremely what I call ideal in terms of her center body cavity. It's just really good. You like the muscle shape in that one, and then you put that thing in motion, and I mean that thing is good on both ends of her feet and legs. She brings that shot of extra power, but she handles that thing so extremely good. That's a really nice gilt to lead off the class with. The 1 and 2, I think, is equally as good on the top side of her. And quite honestly, if we just want to talk about blade to hip into her, I do prefer this one. I really like that shape and that curvature that we've got in this gilt. She's one that is just really stout and rugged featured for it. My problem where I pick on this one is this view right here. When she comes right at you, those front feet get a little bit soft for me. They want to come in, and then you step behind this gal, and this gal starts to want to get to the outside and push into the east and west, not going north and south as much as I'd like to see. But boy, that is one that is just so bold and good and extremely stout featured. Really like that one. Big fan there as well. Come out here, another one in 3, and I think that is extremely good. She runs into just 2 exceptionally high-quality Duroc gilts. Maybe not as fancy and trendy. Gets a little bit old-fashioned up through her head and her skull region for me. A little bit drier in the center part of her. But boy, that one's tall, shouldered, good-looking up in terms of her top shape. I really like that about her. Just got to change that front end in there and fold her up in her body cavity. Really practical comparing. That one right there has probably got more of a sow potential than she does a show hog potential. Really like the boldness into her. Just need to fancy and trend her up. Level that one's design out there a little bit. Come down the line here, I felt like we got into a kind of a class here, the trio I should say, that just ran out of horsepower in terms of center body shape, in terms of width of skeleton. Just got to have a little bit more in those.
Class 6, Hampshire Gilts. Class 6, Hampshire Gilts. Please be making your way to the show ring. Class 6, Hampshire Gilts. Please be making your way to the show ring at this time. And the results of your Class 4 Duroc Gilts. First place goes to Madison Newby. Second place, Jackson Parmalee. Third place, Hunter Hinton. Fourth place, Isaac Pickle. Fifth place, Megan Cox. And rounding out the class, Ethan Lawler and Ethan Lawler. Congratulations to all those fine exhibitors.
This trio out here in the ring with just the three of them in the drive. I think we've got a really nice Gilt to start off the class with, and one that just really excels in terms of her power and with the skeleton within this drive. I really like the way that one plants and drives. I think handles it extremely well. That's a really nice place to start off the class with. Congratulations to her. I think the young man's got one here in two that is extremely good as well. First and foremost, I wish we could just change the front end on this thing, get this thing elevated more off the surface just a little bit more, lengthen the front end of that thing out, because boy, from her shoulder back, that thing offers so much in terms of her shape, her body cavity. When she leaves you so square. Really like that about her. I just wish that thing was in a notch bigger package to help us out, but a really nice Gilt there to be in two. Young fella brings us a really nice Gilt here in three. You really like the look and extension of this one. She's just not as comfortable on the surface. When you put that one in motion and watch her go, she just doesn't go with the kind of flexibility that we need, but a really nice Gilt to round out the drive. Congratulations, young man.
The results of your Class 5 Duroc Gilt. First place, Lindsay Hood. Second place, Branson Hanley Inter. And third place, Ray Weintraub. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
I certainly like where we've been at here in this Duroc show, and you know, you can sit around ringside and we can pick on these things and talk about the things that we don't like about them, but really challenge to spend your time and put your effort on the positives that these things bring to us. That's where we make genetic improvement. That's where we improve ourselves, is when we focus on the positives of these things out here. I think there's one out here that just brings a little bit of extras in a lot of areas. I think one for it just hits the surface, and I mean, this thing is really capped in her structure. I certainly appreciate that. Let me congratulate young lady right down here. Again, you know, we talked this one in class that, you know, I might pick on her a little bit at the surface and how she hits, but boy, you get past that, and I think that one's just offers so much unique pieces about her on the top side. I really appreciate that chest floor, that extra stoutness and boldness that she brings all the way through. Congratulations on that one. There's going to be a reserve.
And your champion Duroc Gilt was exhibited by Madison Doobie, with the reserve champion Duroc Gilt exhibited by Jackson Parmalee. Congratulations to those fine exhibitors this morning. Class 7 Hereford Gilts. Class 7 Hereford Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring. Class 7 Hereford Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring at this time.
I think we would all agree if we do want a single trait, and the one trait we would change on this one is her attitude. And, you get by that, and I think this is the one that needs to win. And the decision in the class isn't there. It's just can you tolerate her attitude out here. That's a Hampshire Gilt there that I just really like at the ground in terms of her angles and her feet and legs and how comfortable she is out here. And that one still maintains that killer kind of a look up through her front end. And then you jump right on top of this one and study the blade, the center body into her, the hip structure into her. And that's really where she excels this class in terms of her length to run, squareness to hip. That's what won Hampshire Gilt. I really appreciate the way that one's all put together. Really nice one to lead off the class with. This one right here comes out of the gate. I don't latch onto this thing right out of the gate simply because of our hip structure on this thing. This thing needs this hip structure rebuilt. That tail needs to be up a little bit more. We need to lengthen that hip out and allow that hind leg to get out and go. But the longer this drive goes, the unique pieces of this one in terms of the center two-thirds of this one, I think is why she's second. Her top shape, her center body cavity, in terms of her angles and her pasturing set, that's one that you really like in terms of with the skeleton, yet maintaining it being inside of herself there as well. Another one here that got to a ring sour on the young fella, and he did a great job of driving this one. But this is one up on the top side again. I really appreciate this one. From her blade back, that one is really ideal in terms of the shape of muscle that she's got into her. When this one gets in motion, she doesn't handle it quite as well as what we would like to see. I'd like to change her front pasturing to just a skosh there if we could. And when you step right behind that one and watch that one go, she's starting to push the pencil for me in terms of being outside of her skeleton just a little bit more. But that right there is one that has so much potential and sow power into her. That's a really nice Gilt there lying down in 3. Really big scaled one here, really one that you like in terms of femininity about her. We just need more of her. She dries out in the center part of her body. She's a little frailer featured all the way through. We'd just like to change that. From a design standpoint, this thing rocks in my mind in terms of her levelness and her squareness and her angles. They are extremely, extremely good. We just need more of this one. We need more in her center body. We need more when she comes and goes away from us in terms of with the skeleton. But boy, you talk about designing them. That one right there ranks up there with anything within the drive. Really a power hog here that just doesn't handle it quite as well. We got to get that thing fixed up there. It looks like we're fighting a little bit of an injury. But boy, just in terms of sheer muscle and power. Another one got all kinds of with the skeleton into her. Not maybe as fancy of a package. Carrying a little bit more condition up through her front end than we'd like to see. Down the line, just run out of power again. Big hogs that get a little drier in the center part of their body cavity. I'd just like to open them up around there as well. Congratulations, those Hampshire exhibitors. Really, really nice job.
The results of your Class 6 Hampshire Gilts. First place and champion goes to Kendall Brewer. Second place and reserve champion goes to Kyle Spencer. Third place, Callie Whaley. Fourth place, Briggs Porter. Fifth place, Maddie Elliott. And rounding out the class is Taylor Hensley, Landon Clark, Trip Trammell, Matthew Perkins, and Lane Martin. Congratulations to all those exhibitors this morning. Class 8 Landrace Gilts. Class 8 Landrace Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring. Class 8 Landrace Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring at this time.
really nice here in this Hereford Drive, you know, and this used to be a breed not very many years ago that people wanted to pick on and make fun, you know, and our family's kind of tagged into these things last couple of years and driven some of them, and boy, the quality of these Herefords has just improved and improved extremely, extremely good. And that is the indication of what you see in this class. You've got an extremely deep class of these Herefords floating all the way down through here, and I certainly commend all these exhibitors on bringing these things. These things would be very competitive at different county fairs all down the line, and that's saying a lot. But I think with that said, I think there's one that just puts this thing together, and I think wins this Hereford division for fun. It's one I really admire in terms of her overall scale. I think when you get on top of this gilt is just exceptionally good in terms of her shape to her top. She's one that looks really, really natural, and when she does want to get out and drive, this thing does it extremely well. Congratulations to the young man right over here as the champion. Reserve champion, this is a gilt that I think just runs into a buzzsaw of a really, really nice Hereford gilt, that maybe one that just offered a little bit more of the extras. But boy, another one here that maybe not opened up as much as what our champion is, but more level designed, extremely good looking, one that is fundamentally built it to ground. Congratulations to that young lady on her reserve champion there as well. Super nice job. This one coming out here in 3 is one that's right there in contention, and she is so from that side profile. I think from a silhouette, from the side, that thing is extremely good. Unfortunately, she doesn't come at me and doesn't go away from me as cool as maybe what we would like to see. Just like to see a little bit more substance in that one when she comes and goes. But side profile, femininity, design, that one is extremely good. Heavy structure, big bone one here. Got all kinds of muscle shape into her. Gets a little bit softer in how she wants to set to the surface. We'd like to change that a little bit. I really appreciate the width of skeleton, the center body cavity that this one's got into her. You really like that rib shape about her. Just not as trendy and level in her design as what a couple of the other ones was. Here's one that just simply gets out-horsed within this class. One that's obviously been taken care of extremely good. Really like that in terms of her skin and hair. Just got to have more of that one.
Danica Overshiner, we need your Class 8 Landrace Gilt. Danica Overshiner, your class is entering the show ring at this time. The results of your Class 7 Hereford Gilts, first place and champion goes to Callie Whaley. Second place and reserve champion goes to Morgan Cox. Third place goes to Allison Baston. Fourth place, Olivia Denny. Fifth place, Trace Thomas. And rounding out the class, Molly Trammell. Congratulations to all those fine exhibitors. Class 9 Poland Gilt. Class 9 Poland Gilt. Please be making your way to the show ring. Class 9 Poland Gilt. This class of Landrace Gilts is in the show ring. I want to make mention that we do have someone from right here in Putnam County representing the state of Indiana as our Indiana Landrace Queen, A.J. Hornback, out there helping out. Thanks for being here, A.J. We appreciate it.
Well, I certainly tip my hat to our Landrace breeders and exhibitors here. You know, not a lot of numbers, but you certainly like the quality of what you see out here. I think, and again, I always just kind of tell you the way I see it. I think when you drive to this class and get all 5 of them out here, there's one that I think really surfaces to the top and does so for a lot of reasons. And yes, this one does have the show hog look about her that you're after, but when you start building these things at the ground, I mean, I think this thing is just phenomenal in terms of how she plants and how she drives. She goes with so much extension on both ends of her skeleton. And then when you jump on top of this one, I mean, this thing is very, very impressive in terms of her blade shape, in terms of her top shape. You really like that about her. You want to pick on her, maybe you want to make her just a notch bigger in her kind, but I think this is an exceptionally nice gilt. Congratulations to this young lady right down here. Super nice job. Congratulations. I think the reserve champion right here, young lady's got a really, really nice one as well. This one you do prefer in terms of being a notch bigger scaled. I certainly like that about her. I really like the center body in terms of her rib shape. The curvature that she has there is extremely good. The longer that drive goes, that thing wants to start pushing off of both ends of her skeleton just a little bit more, as does the gilt that comes out here next. This one starts to get a little worked up on her. I'd like to elevate this one at the point of the shoulder, but boy, you certainly appreciate the stoutness of feature, the leg, the shape that one's got. That's a really nice one there as well. Really practical appearing one here. I mean, this one's got sow power written all over. You take that one to one of those really tall elevated boars in terms of extension up through the front end. That thing can generate something for you. This is one just needs to be softened up. Got all kinds of muscle shape into her. A little bit of abnormality there underneath her, underlying there. But I just want to just soften that overall muscle shape up in her. Congratulations to those Landy breeders. Super nice job.
The results of your Class 8 Landrace Gilts. First place and champion was exhibited by Catherine Fry. Your second place and reserve champion exhibited by Danica Overshiner. With third place, Corey Thomas. Fourth place, Kennedy Clark. And fifth place, Kaylee Rowing. Class 10 Poland Gilts. Please be making your way to the show ring. Class 10 Poland Gilts. Take this opportunity to give a great Putnam County welcome to our judge, Kent Bennington. Comes to us from Monticello, Indiana. He is a show feed specialist with Umbarger Show Feeds. His family has shown numerous champions at the national, state, as well as county levels. And he's judged several swine shows across the U.S. Has a passion, love, and the knowledge of the industry, and continues to help it grow. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our judge today, Kent Bennington.
I really, really appreciate these Poland's out here in the drive, and I think just the exceptional quality all the way through, and with not making it a joke at all, I think by far one of the deeper Poland shows I've judged in a county fair level is in front of us right now, because there's a couple of these deals that you kind of grit your teeth as you're throwing them in there in that 4 and 5, because you understand the quality of those things, and they're exceptionally good. I think with that said, I think there's still one that needs to win, and I think this one does slow at the ground. I think one that just really reaches and goes, and I mean, this one just looks like a thoroughbred when you put her in motion. You really appreciate that about her. She's the most ideal in terms of her skeletal size, in terms of tallness of the point of the shoulder. I really like the feminine look about her front end, and the boy, she certainly does not disappoint us when we get right behind her and study her through her blade and top line. A really nice one to lead off the class with. Another one here from the side deal. I mean, I call this one the backdrop kind of a hug, because you put that one in a backdrop in a picture, and that thing's going to have that wow factor for you. For me, I think when she gets right behind that one and that one loses, as compared to the one that we tag as our champion, she doesn't leave us with as much of impressiveness that I'd like to see. She just kind of runs out there at the ground. I'd like to bolt her up there, but boy, that one's tall-shouldered, good-looking, level design. Here's the unique one within the drive, and I mean, if you like them big-legged and stout-featured and massive skulled and all that kind of things, that's the one that kind of trips your trigger. I certainly understand that about that one. To me, I think when we really appreciate her for those things, but I think when that one comes at us and goes away from us, as masculine as she is from her side profile, she's not as impressive when she comes and she goes. I'd like to fold her chest. I'd like to set those rear two outside just a little bit more if we could. Really nice, well-presented one comes out here next. This thing just doesn't go as well. This thing gets a little high in her ankle set for me. Doesn't stride out as well as we'd like to see. The boy just standing there, I mean, that's one in terms of shape and body that you certainly appreciate. That one's got a lot of generating power, as does this one. Kind of the same situation here. Like to change the angle and the set from her hock to her ground. The boy up front and on the top side of her, that thing offers so many great things about her. Just got to change those rear two to get her out here and go. Nice basic built Poland right here. Gets a little bit maybe old-fashioned for me in terms of her look. I'd like to bolt her up there in the lower third of her body cavity, but a really nice way to round out that drive.
And the results of your Class 9 Poland Gilt. First place goes to Madison Newby. Second place, Grace Fry. Third, Matthew Goodpaster. Fourth, Kirsten Clark. Fifth, Brinley Clark. And rounding out the class, Max Pickle.
really competitive up here in this pair, I think, and two just outstanding gilts that just offer so much to what the Poland breed is. I think we lead off the class with one again. Boy, from a side profile, this thing just puts it together. Level designed, extremely good looking, still has some substance at the ground, really natural in terms of her center body. That's just a really nice gilt there that you really like the presentation on that one as well. The young lady does a great job of getting that thing drove. Congratulations, really nice way to lead off the class. Young fellow in two's got one that I think is equally as good in a lot of places. And I mean, this thing is bird-chested, forearm in this thing is exceptionally good. Her top line is really good. For me, when you study this one in terms of her rear too, she gets a little straighter in that ankle set, especially that right rear. I would just like to change how she sets from her hop to her ground. Just on that ankle, she wants to bend just a little bit forward for me. I think that doesn't enable that gilt to get out maybe as drive as comfortably in the surface as what our class winner does there. Really nice as we come out here next, one that you really just appreciate in terms of that look and freshness of design, really puts it together. Not as powerful as the two directly above. And some of that might be in maturity into her, and I understand that, but still, we need a little bit more spread when she comes and she goes. Really heavy structured, stout featured one here. You like the ruggedness of that foot and bone into her. I don't think it all matches and maybe balances up, has that show presence that we're after. And then when you get right behind her and study her when she leaves you, she's not as correct in terms of her hop to ground setting as what we would like to see, but I think a really nice drive there as well. On down here, I think another one that you just like in terms of presentation, skin and hair, just runs out of fuel in the fire for me. We just need a little bit more in that one to get her to go there. Same situation as we come on down. We just need a little bit more. Nice job.
And the results of your Class 10 Poland Gilts. First place goes to Grace Carr. Second place, Branson Hanley Inzer. Third place, Emma Woodall. Fourth place, Hanley Everman. And fifth place, Emma Woodall. Congratulations. They have asked that I announce that they do have the Putnam Inn cinnamon rolls over here in the junior leaders food stand, located in the southeast corner of the show arena. Putnam Inn cinnamon rolls. So if you'd like one of them, please come over and purchase one of those, as well as some good hot coffee.
Well, certainly I like the quality that we've had in this Poland division here, and I think you get these two out here, they represent extremely good. You know, you can then talk about some negatives on these two, and you know, they're not just perfect in terms of how they go, and maybe our champion, we'd like to change in our top line just a skosh if we could. But I think after that, I think this is one that is just so comfortable. I really like the way this one plants and dries. I think this one is so natural in her center body cavity. You really appreciate that about her. And when you get on top of her, she is certainly just like the extra mass, shot of muscle that she's got. And I think it's the right kind of muscle. And I think it's very important that we keep some shape and power in these gilts, but it's got to be the right kind of muscle shape. And I think this one does it extremely good. Congratulations, this young lady. I think reserve out here is really close, and obviously we've got a little bit difference in terms of our size and maturity and age in these things. I still think when you get down to them and you study and you really just appreciate how high quality these are and the extra power and shot that they've got into them, I think between there's two, I think there's one that is a little bit more ideal in terms of her hip structure. I think one that just reaches and goes with a little bit more extension and set. I just really appreciate the way this one uses her hock in terms of being able to get out and go. Congratulations, this young lady on the far side here. Super nice job.
And your champion, Poland Gilt, was exhibited by Madison Nibby, with your reserve champion exhibited by Grace Carr. I understand that we have a long-standing tradition of showing these litters in this county, and that's really cool, that when you get a tradition that you stick with it and you continue to rock and roll with it, and that's really great to give these young folks the opportunity. Obviously, when you talk about litters, you don't judge these as much as you used to, but boy, you really want to talk about uniformity and high-quality uniformed hogs, and I think these do that extremely well. These will be back here later on this evening in our champion drawing to compete for that champion litter. But let's give this young lady a super nice round of applause. Just a great job of bringing these things. And exhibiting your Poland litter and champion is Emma Woodall. Congratulations on a job well done. We need your Class 11 spot gilts, your Class 11 spot gilts in the show ring at this time. Bishop, stock up. Bishop, stock up. Please be making your way to the show arena with your Class 11 spot gilt, as well as Adeline Cox. Adeline Cox. We're waiting on those two exhibitors. Once again, in the exhibitors meeting this morning, Lee made mention of the box we have up here. We have your nominee and maybe your suggestions on who you would like to have as your swine barn Putnam County barn superintendent next year. So we have those forms up here. The box is not filling up very quick, so you want to be sure and come and do that. Please be making your way with your Class 12 spot gilts. Class 12 spot gilts, please be making your way to the show arena. Class 12 spot gilts.
Started out as we drove these in, it was a little bit of a curvy road of where I was going to get to lead off of this drive. And as I stand out here and pin these from the bottom up, I always like to kind of have in my mind of where I'm going up on the top end of it. And I think the Gilt that leads off the class is one I do so just because of how this thing is built at the ground. I mean, this thing is the one where we talk about making females structurally correct, structurally sound, having the right kind of pasture set, having the right kind of hot to ground set, and being able to move and be athletic. That one does it like no other within this drive. You know, I would like to see a little bit more spread to this one. I'd like to have a notch more power into it to make her a teamer ideal for my kind, but boy, that's one that's level designed, good looking, really just gets out and goes extremely well. The power hog here, and this is the one that I prefer this one on the top side of her skeleton. From her blade to her hip, she offers just a shot more of an extra in terms of her muscle shape, and I really appreciate the kind of muscle shape that is in that gilt. For me, that gilt has two things. She's really soft up on her front pasterns, and her hip structure just isn't long and square enough for me. Then shorter hip hogs have a tendency to be those ones that are a little bit shorter in their movement and stride, and I think that is the case in that one. But boy, that's a power hog that's got all kinds of width. I just wish that thing would get out there and go, and just almost team her as ideal as compared to we talked about our class winner. The Gilded 3, really good looking. This is one that's a little bit more immature than some of the other gilts in the class. She's one that just needs more spread, needs to have a bigger motor working inside of her body cavity. I certainly appreciate the look and levelness of design. Just got to have more into that one before we can compete with those top two. Another one that has all kinds of muscle shape into it. This is another one, if you like them big-legged things, this one really trips your trigger. Another one just gets a little bit soft pasturing, not as big a kind as maybe what I would like to see, especially up through her front end. Really big scaled, long-bodied one just doesn't offer that with the skeleton that we're after. She kind of planes out. Same thing as we round out. Young man's got one represented hog here. Just got to have more power into that one. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
And the results of your Class 11 spot gilt. First place goes to Elena Chu. Second place, Macy Lambermont. Third place, Adeline Cox. Fourth place, Olivia Denny. Fifth place, Michaela Neese. And rounding out the class, Bishop Straka. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Please be making your way to Class 13 spot gilts. Class 13 spot gilts. Please be making your way to the show arena. I'd like to have everybody's attention. We do have a item that has been lost, and it's looking to be found. If you can come to the inside arena and tell us what it is, we'll be happy to give it to you if you can identify it. Lost and found. Really nice spot gilt here that leads on to class. And, you know, she's the big power one in the class. And then when you really start studying them at the ground, I think she's extremely comfortable in how she handles that power and how she handles them extras in terms of her width of skeleton. I really appreciate that boldness to the center part of her body cavity. I think she just looks so natural and real there in her center, and you certainly appreciate that about her. Really nice, good-looking one there, and I really appreciate the extra femininity that this gilt has. This is another one that I call being exceptional in terms of her tallness to the point of her shoulder. She's one that gives you a little bit extra in terms of her reach and pliability and flexibility across the ring. I certainly like that. As compared to the one that leads off the drive, I don't think she's as bold into her center body. She moves out of her shoulder into her forearm. I'd like to stouten that thing up just a nickel if we could. But boy, that one there, good looking, tall.
well shouldered, level design, and congratulations to her. That spotted Gilt there. Next one comes out, I mean, this is a power one here, and I don't care if you want to talk about coming at you, going away from you. That one has all kinds of power. That starts to work against her for me a little bit. She gets outside of her skeleton. I'd like to just change her front end up in terms of how she carries her head and neck carriage there. But boy, that's one that has all kinds of with the skeleton into her. Need to elevate this one at the point of her shoulder, change her angle to her shoulder. But boy, center body on back, I think that thing is exceptionally good and natural. Handles those rear two with so much flexibility. I really appreciate that about her. Getting down here now, we've got some that I think are just carrying a little bit more bark than what I'd like to see. I'd like to burn on these things just a little bit. This one's getting borderline for me in terms of she has enough length of body into her, but I certainly appreciate the skin and hair presentation, levelness to design. That one is exceptionally good. Down the line here, kind of repetitive big framed hogs. I think just need a little bit more extras. I felt like we had a little bit of structure issue in some of them in terms of how straight we are from hop to ground, but overall you can tell the hogs that have really been tended for, cared for, and I think I just congratulate those spotted exhibitors.
The results of your Class 12, Spot Gilt, first place, Macy Clark, second place, Shelby Barger, third place, Kylie Barger, fourth place, Avery Brewer, fifth place, Katie Barger, and rounding out the class, Adelia Thomas, Braden Chu, and Kaylee Rodings. Congratulations.
deep class here, and I think one of them spotted drives that just offers so much all the way down through here. And as a stock judge, you certainly really appreciate the opportunity to judge quality of livestock all the way through, and this class certainly does not disappoint. And with that said, I still think there's one that you tie into and that wins this drive. You know, this isn't the biggest scale thing within the drive, I admit, before you get by that. I mean, this is a spotted gilt that just plants and goes and is so cat-like in her structure. She comes at you. She's so impressive in her chest floor. Her center body cavity is just what I deem ideal in terms of how the structure of her rib shape. She leads you in terms of her off-the-ground setting, base look. That's a really nice one there to lead off the drive with. Still here into a little bit ring sour on us, not liking this show hog, but I think presentation on this field is extremely good. You know, that's one that is exceptionally heavy structured. She comes at you with all kinds of width of scale. Maybe gets a little bit closer for me up through her front end in terms of her head and neck carriage. And as she starts to get worked up in the ring, she wants to take those rear two and not be as quite as confident in terms of where she's going to place them to the surface, but a really nice one there in the two-hole. Young fella here has got him a really, really nice spotted gilt, and I certainly think you load these things up. You don't plan on being in the third hole, but I think just a really deep class here. That thing is bold-chested, bold in the center part of the body. She leaves you with so much with the skeleton. I think that one just a little bit old-fashioned for me in terms of her head and neck carriage. Her shoulder angle needs to be laid back into her just a nickel more for me. Really a big scaled one that has all kinds of femininity in that one. Just gets a little too straight off of both ends. Need more center body into that one. Same situation, repetitive. I love the skeletal size. I love the elevation to the point of the shoulder on that thing. Incredible in terms of her look up through her head and neck, but she's just too dry in the center part, too straight in her angles. Round out the class with two hogs that just get totally outpowered in terms of width of skeleton, but two young folks that just did an outstanding job of presenting those hogs, getting those things dialed in. Just got to have a little bit more extra.
The results of the Class 13 spot gilts: first place, Catherine Fry; second place, Lindsay Hood; third place, Graham Clark; fourth place, Haley Cox; fifth place, Chloe Inman Jenkinson; and rounding out the class, Lathan McKinney and Wyatt Bell. Congratulations. Please be making your way to Class 14 Tamworth Gilts. Class 14 Tamworth Gilts. Well, certainly congratulations to these spot exhibitors and the trio out here. You know, you survived a really difficult spot division as we went through, and I really appreciate the quality that we have out here. All the three of them don't look exactly alike. I understand that. But, you know, every time you step in the ring, you find those ones that you kind of tag to, that you play the cards that were dealt in front of you, and you focus on the positives and those little extras that they bring and still try to get it into a balanced package out here. And I think there's one that does that. I think there's one that balances up. I think there's one that kind of just offers a little bit more. I think in terms of how this one plants and drives, I think is exceptionally good. I like her angles when she comes. I love her angles when she goes. You know, I keep falling in love with these ones that get a little bit ring sour on us, but I still think it's the best one. Congratulations to this young lady right here. I think there's another one out here that just offers a lot of those pieces in terms of our extras, and as compared to that Champion, I think our front end, we need to reconstruct this front end just a nickel in terms of how this thing is built, in terms of our pasturing, and in terms of having enough femininity up through there. And I think one that is just so bold and dense all the way through her body cavity. I really appreciate the muscle shape she's got. Congratulations to this young lady right here. Super nice job. And your champion, Scott Gilt, was exhibited by Catherine Fry, with your reserve champion exhibited by Macy Clark. Congratulations, exhibitors. Class 15, Yorkshire Gilts. Class 15, Yorkshire Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring. Class 15, Yorkshire Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring at this time. Take this opportunity to introduce a couple of young ladies that are out here working real hard for us this morning. And they'll probably have help this afternoon or trade duties. But we have our first runner-up, Miss Putnam County, A.J. Hornback, over here in the corner. As well as our second runner-up, Miss Taylor Goss. Congratulations, girls, and thanks for your help. We need your Class 15 Yorkshire Gilts. Class 15 Yorkshire Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring. Class 15 Yorkshire Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring at this time. Lee Fordyce, if you could make your way to the announcer stand. Lee Fordyce. Check 1, 2.
just the one class here in these tams, but I think it's ultra competitive out here, you know, and I think competing for the championship honors out here, you've got two hogs that, you know, quite frankly, they don't look the same, and they're built a little bit different, you know, and I'm just going to talk these two and just kind of tell you how I see them before I tag into them. You know, the young lady's hog here, this is one that I just, in terms of a look and just her femininity up through her front end, and she's feminine up through her front end, but then study the blade in that thing. I mean, that thing is still very masculine in her blade, and I really like this one, how she ties into her blade to her top line. She's extremely level all the way down her top. Her hip structure is just ideal in terms of her ham-loin junction. Link to her rump is exceptionally good. And then when you put that thing in motion, I mean, that thing tracks, and that thing tracks like they need to. I really appreciate that about her. The question is, I keep getting behind her and watching her leave, and I keep saying, is there enough? Is there enough? And that's the question that you have to ask yourself, because this one over here, we all know there's enough. I mean, this one is the power hog within the drive. This one is really opened up in terms of her center blade, in terms of her blade to her hip, and when you get right behind her, she kind of leaves you with all kinds of with the structure there as well. Where I pick on this one is she gets up in that top line. I'd like to relax that spine down. You study her hip structure into her, not necessarily how she is now as she's trying to go to the bathroom, but even at that is one that hip structure needs to be a little bit longer. She needs to blend at that ham-loin junction just a little bit different. But boy, you talk about putting width and power into them. I mean, that one does it exceptionally good. Two really nice gilts. The one I prefer, young lady right down here has your champion. Congratulations to her, young fellow with the reserve there. Really nice. Congratulations to both of you. This one and third, don't get lost in the shuffle here, because this one is teetering to be right there, and you know, really does resemble that champion in terms of being tall at the point of her shoulder, in terms of being level and very cat-like in her structure. She just gets too dry in that center body. I don't read her as natural in terms of her rib shape, as I did those two directly above her, but exceptionally high-quality tan gilt to be there. Come out here with one again. Just love the look and femininity of her. Young lady did a great job of getting this thing drove around there. She's another one that just gets out-horsed in this class in terms of width and power. I really like the presentation on that. This young lady's got one that just wants to run on us here a little bit more than what she would prefer, but I still think one obviously been taken care of, growing well. Congratulations to her. Super nice job there as well. Nice job.
The results of your Class 14 Tamworth Gilts. First place and champion goes to Morgan Goss. Second place and reserve champion goes to Dalton Scott. Third place, Cheyenne Graham. Fourth place, Kendall Downing. And fifth place, Destiny Crosby. Congratulations to Tamworth Gilt Exhibitors. Please be bringing your Class 16 Yorkshire Gilts. Class 16 Yorkshire Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring. Class 16 Yorkshire Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring at this time. We've got another litter here, and we went ahead and did those tams before and allowed these exhibitors to get them all back up here to the ring. And obviously, again, as we talked earlier, this is a litter that you really appreciate for this overall high quality. They are extremely uniform, really good kind of a hogs. They will be competing here a little bit later on for them champion honors. But let's congratulate this young lady on a super nice job of raising these spotted hogs. And your first place and champion spot litter was exhibited by Kylie Barger. Congratulations. We do have a speaker problem in the swine barn, so please just kind of keep an ear toward the inside arena. If you can kind of listen to that, that would be great. modern technology. So like I say, just keeping it here close to the inside arena. We'll have a little compassion for you, but please be watching the show schedule and see where we're at. We do need your 16, class 16 Yorkshire Gilts. Class 16 Yorkshire Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring. Class 16, the Yorkshire Gilts.
great way here to lead off in this Yorkshire drive, and I think hands down you've got one to just lead off and then you grab a hold of it and throw this one right in your mind and put it in a hole. Just one that's built extremely good at the ground. I think one that just handles it in terms of how she plants and drives at the surface. She's tall-shouldered, she's good-looking, certainly does not disappoint us when you get on top of her in terms of her blade-to-hip action. I think is exceptionally good. Nice way to lead off our Yorkshire drive. This one here is a little bit tricky because she doesn't want to be a show hog for the young lady, and the young lady's doing a great job of driving this thing. But boy, when you start studying this one, there is so much width and power and stoutness into her. You know, maybe make her a notch bigger kind up through her front end in terms of she gets a little old-fashioned in her head and neck. But boy, I tell you, that's one, that center body cavity with the structure onto her, that one right there, if she would ever just figure out how cool it is to get out here and drive, that's a really nice Gilt there to be lying in that two hole. From there, I think it gets a little bit challenging in how you're going to put this together. I think you've got a Gilt here that's exceptional in terms of her look, really tall-shouldered Gilt. Love the levelness of design to her. I think she runs out in terms of her lower rib. She gets a little shallower and tighter at the ground for me. Comes out here next one. I really like the stoutness of this thing. Her chest floor, when she comes right at you, just certainly demands your attention. She demands your attention up on the top side of her. For me, it looks like she's fighting a little bit of an injury there on that right rear. Just doesn't go quite as well as what we need to see, but that's an exceptionally high-quality Gilt. Really a tall frame, tall shoulder. This one's as big a scale as anything in the class. Maybe that plays against her a little bit as she gets a little drier into her rib shape and body cavity. Not enough spring all the way through that one. All kinds of muscle shape into this one. I'd like to make her just a notch bigger in her kind. I'd like to soften that muscle up just a nickel if we could, but you certainly appreciate when you put that kind of shape and muscle into them. Down the line, a couple of Gilts that just run out in terms of overall power and the right kind of power, I should say. Maybe carrying a little bit more grease onto them than what we'd like, but a couple of really nice hugs to round out the drive.
Results in the Class 15 Yorkshire Gilts. First place goes to Dalton Scott. Second place, Brinley Judy. Third, Braden Chew. Fourth, Clay Pennington. Fifth, Mac Haven. And rounding out the class, Faith Bell, Kaylin Albright, Destiny Crosby, and Aaron Pickle. Congratulations to all those exhibitors. Please be making your way to Class 17 Crossbred Gilts. Class 17 Crossbred Gilts, please be making your way to the show arena. Class 17 Crossbred Gilts.
well-deserved round of applause. I think you've got a really competitive class out here that offers a lot of positives, and then as a judge, it offers us a lot of challenges out here to put this thing together. And and we can pick on them if you want, but I think it gets down to kind of putting that complete kind of puzzle together. I think this Gilt's the one that does that, and I mean, she's not the biggest frame in the class. The Gilt 2 is more ideal for me in terms of her skeletal size and tallness of point of the shoulder, but you get by that. I think this Gilt is just absolutely a killer in terms of her look and presentation. I really prefer this Gilt up through her head and neck region into her, and then boy, she's still just so good in terms of how she's opened up in the center part of her blade. You get behind that Gilt, she's really impressive and handles it in terms of her hot to ground setting. I really like that one to lead off the drive with. Really close pair with this one here in 2 in my mind, because I think from her shoulder back, this thing offers so much in terms of her bigness of kind. She's exceptionally level down her top line. I really like this in terms of her hip structure into her. You really appreciate that. For me, she gets a little old-fashioned up through that head and neck, and not only in terms of her head and neck region and how she's built there, she's carrying a little bit more in terms of grease into her elbow pocket than I like to see. And I think also when you get right behind her, for as masculine as she is up on the top side of her, she wants to cave in just ever so slightly at the ground. That's a really good Gilt, and I just think is an exceptionally high quality one there to be in the 2-hole. Congratulations to her as well. The Gilt 3, I really appreciate this one for a lot of things in terms of her look and presentation. She's another one that just really goes uphill, and I certainly appreciate that about her. She gets a little high in her jump muscle, gets a little rounder in that hip muscle for me as compared to those 2 exceptionally high-quality Gilts. We just got to balance that thing up, drop that rib down into her before we're going to get her any higher. The Gilt comes out next, just gets a little hard in terms of her muscle shape for me. I'd like to soften that one up if we could. I like that she's got all kinds of shape. It just needs to be a little softer kind of a muscle for me. Handles it well. Presentation was spot on that one as well. Really a big stout one comes out here next. Just doesn't go well enough. Gets a little too soft up on that front pasturage. Got some dew claw issue there that's bothering her. Just doesn't let her be as athletic as what we would like to see. Down the line here, we get a little bit repetitive again as we come down here. Some hogs I just like to make a notch bigger in her kind. So some hogs that just need to be blown out up through the front end as well. But a really nice set all the way through.
The results of the Class 16 Yorkshire Gilts. First place goes to Lindsay Hood. Second place, Rainey Burge. Third, Brickley Oliver. Fourth, Morgan Goff. Fifth, Corbin Clark. And rounding out the class, Alexandra Dobbs, Lane Martin, and Andrea Neese. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
I think just a pair of these Yorkshire Gilts out here that are just exceptionally high quality females, and I take my hats off of just many of these Yorkshires down through this strip that I think were exceptionally good in their kind. Their homes that were built right, and then you get this pair out here, and sometimes the hardest thing to do is survive your class and get them out here, and then you kind of see what happens out here. I think that happens. I think you do it, but I think there's one out here that puts this thing together, and this is the kind that you really like in terms of how they're built at the ground. I think this one is ideal in terms of that skeletal size, and one that runs uphill. She certainly doesn't disappoint you in terms of her masculinity up on the top side of her and handling it in the way she needs to. Let me congratulate young fella right here. Super nice job. I think our other class winning Gilt out there again, we just talked to her, and maybe I'd like to make that one in a notch bigger package, but that's another one that plants and drives, is stout featured, and kind of got that cool look to her front end into her, yet she's still so masculine in terms of how her blade's set and how she comes at you in her chest floor. And then you study that hip into that one, level, square hip into her. Really appreciate that one. Well, congratulations, young lady, reserve champion. Nice job.
And your champion Yorkshire Gilt was exhibited by Dalton Scott, with the reserve champion exhibited by Lindsay Hood. Class 18, Crossbred Gilts. Class 18, Crossbred Gilts, please be making your way to the show arena. Class 18, Crossbred Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring.
We jump into these crossbreds, and the young fella brings us just a really unique, well-balanced skill here. One that I think just exceeds this class in terms of how she's built at the ground. She plants and she drives extremely good off of both ends. She's not the heaviest muscle, most powerful gilt in the drive, but she's just the one that stays inside. She's the one that goes. She's the one that has the most show-hog presence to her. I really like that one to lead off the drive with. Power hog in the class lies in the second hole. This is one that has exceptional in terms of muscle shape, maybe a little harder in that muscle shape for what I like. I think one that gets a little tight in her ham-loin junction. We'd like to blend her there a little bit more. We certainly appreciate how she handles all that muscle. Just wish we could soften her up there just a nickel. And I think that one could contend to lead off the drive. This one comes out here in third, kind of like the one we just talked about. Maybe not as big in her kind. That's another one that's got all kinds of muscle shape into her. That's one that I think just really needs to be stoutened up at the ground. That one needs to be softened up in her overall look there as well. Come out here next, big frame, long fronted gilt. You like that one? Need to change the angles of her. Need to soften her up. See, gilt right here got a little bit of a hiccup in her get up in terms of how she wants to plant and drive, but a really nice heavy muscle kind of a gilt.
The results of your Class 17 Crossbred Gilts: first place, Samuel Osborne; second place, Trace Thomas; third place, Aurora Roberts; fourth place, Anastasia; fifth place, Kayla Moglin; and rounding out the class, Kayla Moglin. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Please be making your way with your Class 19 Crossbred Gilts. Class 19 Crossbred Gilts, please be coming to the show arena. Class 19 Crossbred Gilts.
I'm moving on the 14th. All the athletes move on the 14th. But I start camp on Monday. Nobody else moves in until the 23rd. We don't start school until the 23rd.
You know, judging these lightweight crossbred divisions anymore, they get a little bit more challenging. You know, it wasn't very many years ago when you were judging these lightweight hogs, it was all those Februarys, those young hogs that we'd show. And now we've kind of got into this habit where we show so many of these that are kind of older and they're slower growing and all that. And as a judge, it makes it hard, and especially as a judge like myself, that I want these things fresh and I want them youthful in terms of how they look into them. And I think we're very blessed to have that out here in this ring. I think the one that we lead off the class with is just absolutely killer from the side profile. I really appreciate the head and neck carriage on this one and how elevated she is at the point of her shoulder. She is exceptional in terms of her levelness of design in her top, in terms of her left squareness to her hip. Really ideal in that. When you get right behind her, now she's pushing the pencil and maybe just getting out there a little bit more. But boy, that's one that you really, really like. This one here in two, I think, gives her all she wants, in my opinion. This maybe doesn't want to drive and be a show hog, maybe as ideal as what we would like to see. But this is a very good, well-balanced, complete kind of a gilt that I deem this one as compared to that class winning gilt. Gets a little coarser in her shoulder. She's a little straighter in that shoulder set. But boy, that is a stout-legged one. Now, if that thing gets out here and drives and gets all tied together, that thing balances up and looks a little bit neater than what she does there in that corner. Young fella's got one here in three that I really like as well. I mean, this is one that I think has some breeding value into her in terms of how natural she is. She's tall at the point of her shoulder. She's ideal in terms of her skeletal extension. She's ideal in terms of her foot and her bones. Unfortunately, I think for the one, when she comes right at you, she gets a little plainer featured in her chest. She gets a little plainer featured in her forerib there. I just like to fold her up as compared to those top two gilts in terms of her center body and her rib shape into her, but a really nice kind of a gilt there. Velvet gilt comes out here next. There's a lot of this thing that I really think this dog can hunt. I mean, this thing is so feminine up to her front end. She's very well presented, and you love her from a side profile. When you get right behind her, I think she gets a little bit tangled up in terms of her hind leg set. Some of that is just a simple fact. She's a little shorter and steeper in her hip structure. That just doesn't allow her to get out and go. Big frame, long body gilt here just doesn't put the puzzle together, and maybe as a need of a package, kind of gets a little paler featured all the way through. We just like to stouten her up at the ground. Really Gilt comes out here very similar, just like to make her bigger scale, taller fronted, gets a little too compact, but boy, she's got all kinds of width of skeleton, all kinds of muscle shape into her. Young fella's done a really nice job. Down the line here, a couple gilts that just need to be bolder and deeper all the way through, but exceptionally good pair of them down here to round out the drive.
The results of the Class 18 Crossbred Gilts. First place goes to Grace Carr, with second place Garrett Haven, third place Jackson Fry, fourth place Carter Thomas, fifth place Caden Purdue. Rounding out the class, Zachary Kaufman, Olivia Denny, and Hannah Sims. Congratulations to those fine exhibitors today. Class 20 Crossbred Gilts. Class 20 Crossbred Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring. Class 20 Crossbred Gilts, please be making your way to the show ring at this time. I've been asked to announce they have a lost item at Harris Hall. It is a camera device, so if you've lost that, please go down to Harris Hall, identify it, and they'll give it back to you. I think the black gilt here is one that kind of comes to the top of this class and does so from a ground to up standpoint in my mind. One that just really plants and drives, and her angles are exceptionally good within this class. I think this one is extremely good in terms of her presentation. Her levelness to her top line, squareness to her hip, gives you a little bit of extra. And it's a notch more of a shot of power kind of a look about her that I think that's a positive about that one. This 1 and 2 I think is an exceptionally high quality gilt in terms of being tall-shouldered. She's long-bodied all the way through. I really appreciate her skeletal size. She's one I just think gets a little drier in the center part of her body cavity. I don't think she's maybe as neat and fancy up through the front end as I'd like to see, but two really nice gilts up there in the top end of this class. The power hog within the drive that comes out here in 3, I mean, this one, if you just judge hogs from the top down, you really, really like this one. Unfortunately, I judge them from the bottom up. This thing gets a little funky when you get in right behind her. She wants to invert just a little bit from her hock to ground setting. I'd like to pull those hocks inside of herself, but that's a really nice gilt right there that just doesn't get out and go as well as we would like to see. I really get a bit more of a basic kind of a gilt comes out here next, and I say that in a positive way, in that one that just balances up and doesn't wow you in any certain way, but I think one that just offers a lot. Unfortunately, her angles don't match up quite as well. A little too straight in her shoulder, too short in her hip, just doesn't go as well as we'd like to. Same situation here. I mean, this one here is one that this has got a lot of wow factor, and if you only judge them at a backdrop and you don't make these things move, this thing might find herself all the way up to the top because she is exceptionally good quality.
Gilt, that just skin and hair is dialed into her. Unfortunately, she just doesn't go. Looks like she's got somewhat of an injury or hurting there on her rear tube and just doesn't want to get out and go. But that's unfortunate for the young fellow. That's a really, really nice Gilt to be all the way down there. Coming out here next, a real practical, easy doer, maybe one that's got more of a commercial kind of a look to her. I certainly appreciate the easiness of her center body cavity. I certainly appreciate the overall muscle shape that she's got. Just like to give that one more of a show hog look. Round out down here on this end with a couple hogs, kind of similar. Need a notch more show hog look into them. Need them things to get out and go from hog to ground with just a little bit more reach and give.
The results of your Class 19 Crossbred Gilts. First place goes to Zoe Storm. Second place, Zachary Kaufman. Third place, Morgan Berry. Fourth place, Hannah Sims. Fifth, Callie Whaley. And rounding out the class, Layla Hazlett, Clay Pennington, and Ethan Mayer. Congratulations. Please be bringing your Class 21 Crossbred Gilts. Please be making your way to the show arena. Class 21 Crossbred Gilts. Please be making your way to the show arena at this time. We will be breaking for lunch at the conclusion of the Gilt show. Eyes on something else. Gilt classes, as soon as we complete those, we will break for lunch. When we come back after lunch, we will start off with the scramble class. So you want to be sure to be back for that. Well, a really nice class here, and the trio out here in the ring, I think by far one of the deeper crossbred classes that we've had all the way through, just exceptionally high quality. Here's one that just puts it together for me and does so quite handily in terms of whether you want to start with a show presence or show look. I think that thing is dialed into a T, and then you build them from the ground up. Angles on that thing are exceptionally good. I like the way that one just gets out there and plants and drives. Jump on the top side of her skeleton, she certainly doesn't disappoint. That's a really nice Gilt there to lead off the drive with. This Gilt in turn maybe offers just a shot more power than what our class winning Gilt does, and I certainly appreciate that about this Gilt. I think this is one that is exceptionally heavy structured in terms of how she's built.
I really appreciate this one in terms of her hip structure, how long she is from her hip structure, how square she is in her hip. I really, really appreciate that. When you get right behind this thing, I just wish she handled him rear two just a little bit better. She gets a little bit unorthodox at times where she's going to plant to the surface, but I think that's a really nice one there in that two hole. This Gilt coming out here in three, I mean, this thing's got some wow factor to you. And if you just simply focus on the center part of the body cavity of that thing I deem ideal in terms of her rib shape, her back shape, and that one is exceptionally good. For me, she gets a little compact up through the front end, gets a little shorter in her hip structure there, but that's an exceptionally stout-featured one that's just busted wide open and handled it extremely well. A little plain feature kind of a hog comes out here next. Need to change the front end angle on this. We need to elevate the shoulder onto her. But boy, she's athletic. She gets out and goes and moves. You certainly appreciate that about her. And another one here, just maybe like to give that one a little bit more of a show presence about her than what she has. But I certainly like one that's an easy doing, kind of a nice, kind of a go-gill. This one here just got a little bit of an injury. Got some swollen hocks on her. We just got to trim those hocks up and get that thing to go a little bit better. But the top side of the skeleton, the muscle shape on that one, I think is exceptionally good.
And the results of your Class 20 Crossbred Gilts. First place goes to Grace Fry. Second place, Brett Van Rensselaer. Third place, Brindley Judy. Fourth place, Jackson John Van Buren. Fifth place, Bishop Stockrop. And rounding out the class, Malin Gibbs. Take this opportunity to say a few thank yous on behalf of Lee Fordyce. Thanks to all the crew that's helping out, whether out here, back in the barns, or earlier this week, weigh-ins and different things. A big thank you goes out to those people, and job well done thus far. We know this afternoon's going to go just equally as smooth. Also, a big thank you to Endeavor Communications for making sure that the live streaming is going on in the inside arena here, which is provided by MTC Sports. So thank you, Endeavor Communications.
Well, just an outstanding class here, and these gilts, these top 4 or 5 gilts are exceptionally good. And I was joking with the young man all the way down here with Blue Gilt. I said, man, you picked the wrong class to be into because he's got a really high quality hog all the way down there in that drive, and he just runs into really a lot of heat out here. I think the longer this thing goes, the longer this thing right here that the young lady's driving in the pink shirt says, grab me and let's go. And I mean, this is one that has just an overall power kind of a hog about her. You get on the top side of her, she's really opened up in her blades. I really appreciate the width of skeleton that she has in her top line. I mean, that thing's got a back in her that you could land a plane on, and how wide she is, but yet she's not too far out there in my mind, and how she puts it together. She plants and goes extremely well. That's a really nice skill to lead off the class with and survive there. A lot of heat. From there, I think there's some decisions to make, and there's decisions to make because these things are that good. It's not like we can't find the one. It's like these things are just exceptionally high quality gilts. This one here gets a little ring sour on you, and that's right. That's not why she's second. This is a really good looking gilt here. Another one that is exceptionally level in her top line. Gets a little bit quicker in that hip structure for me. For me, I think for this one as compared to that class winner, when you put her in motion, she's got a little bit of a limp to her almost out here. She just doesn't want to set down with the authority that I'd really like to see her. Young lady does a great job of getting that thing presented and driven there. Congratulations to her. From a side profile, I mean, this thing is just so unique. And when you want to talk about head and neck carriages, and one that literally ties her head and her shoulder in at a really high point, and you really appreciate that about her. I love the look. I love the extension on it. This one, as compared to those two, we need more. I think when she comes right at you, her chest floor, right there in her heart region, she gets a little tighter, and she doesn't leave with as much power as what the gilts did directly above her. An exceptionally high quality gilt here that wins a lot of county fairs in my mind, because this thing from the top side of her is just so flat good in terms of how bold she is in her shoulder, how much shape she's got down her top line is exceptionally good. You study the front feet, the front pasture on that thing. She gets a little bit soft. She wants to toe in there just a little bit for me. I'd like to change that up. I also would just like to soften that body cavity up on that one. Just a nickel. For as big scaled as she is, for as much muscle as she is, she's just okay there in her center body cavity into her rib shape. Young man's got a well-presented gilt, comes out here next. This blue hog is just fitted to a T. I certainly commend him on that. This one is so athletic. She just gets too short and quick in her hip structure there for me. Gets too straight to the shoulder there. But boy, I like the muscle shape. I really like the overall body and rib shape that one has there. Come down here with two gilts that are just really practical, basic built kind of hogs. Maybe don't have that show presence that the ones directly above, but I think are exceptional. Two gilts that you certainly appreciate. Just really ran into a tough class there. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
The result, silver class 21 Crossbred gilts. First place goes to Danica Overshiner. Second place, Gretchen Carr. Third, Ethan Ham. Fourth, William Berkshire. Fifth, Style Stouch. And rounding out the class, Molly Trammell and Kennedy Lawson. Congratulations to those exhibitors. If you would please, put your hands together and congratulate these crossbred exhibitors there. That was a really, really tough crossbred show, and it was tough because you had so many really good pieces out there, and you know, I tip my hat off to all you folks and getting these things dialed in. I mean, this last few days that these things have went through has certainly been very challenging to keep these hogs eating and keeping them going, and I think these exhibitors have done an exceptionally good job on doing that. I think you get these out here, I think I'm very pleased with them. There's a lot of similarities, but there are some differences in terms of skeletal size with them, and I think when you get them out here, I think there's one that, you know, I say this a lot, there's sometimes you just load up and you get them in and you survive your class, and then you get out here and you just look like you maybe had a little bit extra, and I think that's the situation today. Congratulations, that young lady just won that last class. Once again, after the conclusion of the Gilt show, we will start back at noon with the scramble class. 12 o'clock noon with the scramble class, and then we'll continue right on into the barrows. 12 o'clock noon for the scramble class.
Wait, I'm coming back.
I think this reserve, I think, is really close, and there's a trio of them out here that I've got in mind amongst them, and you know, again, maybe these don't offer that extra that maybe the champion did, but then forget about that one, and that one's done and gone, and then you sit on the edge of your seat, and you kind of pay attention to what you got out here in the ring, and you've still got a phenomenal set of these crossbred gilts out here. You know, we describe these things in class, and you know, you can nitpick them a little bit, and you know, this gilt we talked here, I just planted with a little bit more authority. I wish that one right behind her there. When you get right behind her, you just maybe want to say, get them hops in just a little bit. This one right here, really killer looking, maybe not as stout featured as what we would like, and some of them at the ground, but that one's one that's just really put together. That one's running uphill. That one's level design. I really like the look of that one. I like that one second best. Congratulations. And your champion crossbred gilt was exhibited by Danica Overshiner with the reserve champion exhibited by Grace Fry. Congratulations to all exhibitors this morning. Well, once again, we will begin at 12 o'clock noon with the scramble class. 12 o'clock noon with the scramble class.